Watts Township is down there.
You talking about on the Saldo map?
Yeah, it's
Hang on a second.
furthest east point, I think, on this month's review. So page 19 on the plan set actually shows the whole contour. That link, just like last month, the link that I emailed everybody became old. So I gotta make sure that I don't copy and paste from this month's distribution next month. So Larry does have the one up on the screen right there.
Where am I going, Jason?
That dot right to your left of your arrow.
This one.
Yep.
Nothing's happening. Oh,
Keep
there
going.
it goes.
There you got it. Might take a while to pull it up because it's a big file.
It's coming.
So there's 10 buildings on the site. Most of them are 155,727 square feet in size. And then the smaller buildings are 137,495 square feet. They occupy, I'm trying to think of it, my sheet. Yeah. So, yeah, the developed acreage is around 286.88. 286.88 acres. So
What page am I going to, Jason?
19.
I don't see any page numbers here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, down on the bottom right, there's it's very small.
I can't hear you.
Oh.
On the bottom right, they're very small.
Very small. They're down below the big C201. It's tiny. There you go. That's the page.
Right here?
Yep.
All right.
So yeah, I mean we had about 5 pages worth of comments on this thing. So I had 11 zoning related comments. There was a piece of paper that was a letter that was submitted with the application from McNeese, Wallace, and Urick, where they kind of pinned down the zoning officer to make a determination on accepting this plan. And it says here that, in my capacity as a zoning officer of Watts Township, I hereby concur with and make the determination set forth above. And basically what they're saying that based on the foregoing, we ask that you determine in your capacity as zoning officer that the data centers are permitted by right in the industrial district as warehouses and similar non-processing storage and distribution uses. So they didn't want to probably get in a position where, probably the zoning officer probably didn't want to get the township in a position of having to defend a decision to not say that it's because it's not listed specifically that it's not a permitted use in the district. They would have probably said, well, we're just applying for conditional use, in your township because you don't have anything on data centers. What other districts do you have it listed as? So in the end, I do have a separate document here where the supervisors of the township have challenged the zoning officer's determination.
Really?
And
Make her awkward.
I know. So I sympathize a little bit, but
Who at McNeese? Who's the attorney?
Charles Courtney. Yeah. Yeah. So we got our review done and they have our comments. So, there's a lot of other comments. I mean, the plan itself, there was a lot of things that were displayed in the plan set that had no reference in the legend. So I couldn't tell what IWW stood for. I couldn't tell what IW stood for, but I'm guaranteeing that it's probably industrial wastewater because they were lines that surrounded the building. It probably, was all, it all went back to the pumping area. There are 2 wells proposed on this site that are going to supply the water. They're not tapping into the rivers. At least they're not on the preliminary plans. That could change by the time it comes to final, but
2 wells of sound.
How much water are they estimating?
that's the water. Where's the this is a site environment. This is a phase 1 environmental assessment report. This is a geotechnical engineering report. And then wetland and water course delineation report. So that's the wetland study. Jim, I don't know if they've done an actual water study for this property. Oh wait, yes they have. Yeah. I thought I saw one, but when I looked at this initially, what did I see? The development is projected to initially generate 30,000 gallons per day of domestic wastewater flow. So if they're doing 30,000 gallons of wastewater, then they're not cycling. It doesn't seem like they'd be cycling it back through the system.
Well, they could be cycling some back through the system. There
Yeah,
might
I
be
guess your
some,
wastewater, yeah, could.
but there still would be some that they aren't able to, or that they know they have to discard at some stage of it.
The sewage design capacity for their plant that they're putting together is 50,000 gallons per day. So they have enough to handle it. But it's like, but my question is still, if they're treating 30,000 gallons a day, let's say, if that's what they're anticipating, then that's more than their employees would ever need for their own serviceable use, I would think. And we're talking about 250 probably employees, 250 to 300 maybe, based on the parking lots. Because there's about 25 parking spaces at each end of each building. So there's 50 parking spaces per building. And you figure that's for shift transfer of shifts. So you're probably looking at around 30 employees maybe per building, maybe. That's probably in the ballpark, I'm thinking. So 30 times 10 would put you at 300. So if you have 300 employees, a 4-person family estimated gallons per day use is 400, right?
Yeah, that's an excessive amount. I mean,
I think that
there's gotta be other.
there's other waters that are being put into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, a lot of that, if that's the case, a lot of it will go up in steam too. So it doesn't seem like they're putting any type of a closed loop system in. I don't know. But that'll all get sorted out through the process by the time it comes in for final, I would think. They'll know what they end up with. And then the traffic study, this is what we got for traffic. And they were just comparing it to the warehouse TIS that they did, and their numbers are significantly lower as you would expect. But it still does, at the end, it says, as such, if the proposed data center is advanced, the PennDOT approved TIS remains valid, is what they're saying. Well, PennDOT's going to make that determination. They're going to say, we want to see it anyway. Yeah. At least they paid a good review fee for us. Yeah.
All right, any other questions on that or any of the other municipal reviews?
On this data center, are there any transmission lines going in as a result?
There was some lines coming in from the north, I believe, Tom.
Right.
Do you see that
Tie into
little?
that one
Do
further.
you see that? Do you see the little black above the road there that's proposed through that complex? There's a little area on the upper side of the 6 buildings that are together there. That's a that's where a lot of the electric lines come into, and it's like without. I should pull it up.
The substation in there.
I don't know. I don't. There are two. There's a hashed area that sits above the buildings. This area here that didn't have any type of an identified like graphic feature in the legend. But there's a treatment fire pump building on the north side of the road right there. It's kind of a two circles in a rectangle inside the little area. It's all fenced in. But below that, there's, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, they're substations. There's 2 of them. They're 150 foot by 450 feet. 2 of them.
How large of a system is this? Is this a hyperscale?
Well, it might, if it isn't, it's the next, it's got to be the next rung down. But I think, it's,
I'm just thinking with the two wells that likely isn't going to be enough. I mean, you're looking at some pretty hefty wells in there to
yeah. But
provide that amount, and
Yeah.
they're typically, what was it? I seen a number of like 120,000 gallons per day. And so you got some good well, goodly number of wells to make that happen. Number one.
typically, yeah.
How,
Well, that's
how is
about
that? How's that covered in the data center ordinance at this point?
What?
The wells, the water supply and so forth. I seem to recall seeing something based on the geology. There would be um, an a quantity of groundwater based on the geology. Is there any preliminary well drilling and sampling and testing to be able to verify that there is enough water with what they're proposing, or where they're going to have to go to get more? I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is when you look at these things, just using secondary source information ain't going to get it done. I mean, we've done. I've been involved in wells for heat pumps for schools and so forth, and it's common. You've got to drill test wells to be able to verify you're going to get the reach or the well quantities, the water quantities needed, and that so you really can't approve a plan that's half baked. It's what it amounts to, and that can lead to additional offsite impacts when the drawdown, if you're pulling the water supply down tremendously, you're gonna take out wells nearby for homes. Of course
I
they'll.
think the Township's looking at bonding, making them bond,
Yeah,
but you
that's
know,
that's that's kicking it down the road, and then you're going to have some real PO'd people out there saying, "Yeah, see, I told you so." Our wells are running dry.
yeah.
It's just not a good approach at all. I see that as a real problem. The secondary impacts is what'll jump up and bite you. Uh,
Mhm.
and like I say, they extended the power lines and so forth. You got a number of issues there. Um, and like I said earlier, you see these heat island effects that they're now starting to document and so forth. There ought to be at least something that's going to identify what is going out there presently relative to existing groundwater or ground temperatures and stream temperatures and so forth that are high quality EV type streams. They would certainly be protected, and so you have an impact on those, but you wouldn't really know until this thing starts in and to with whatever it's generating and then see what impact that has. But
Yeah.
again,
Well, I
it's
think this was a basic knee-jerk reaction submission because they wanted
no,
to
I
get it.
understand,
They wanted to
understand,
get it in, and then it's like,
but that's why I'm bringing it up
I
because
know,
I
I know.
see a number of issues that I think need to be dealt with. Period.
I mean, I'm looking at this water feasibility study, and they have two buildings displayed on their map inside the feasibility study. So
Yeah,
they weren't even ready to submit this. They
right.
just
Obviously, yeah.
they wanted to beat
It's
the township to the punch to get an ordinance adopted, and they wanted
right.
to get it in.
But
So
it's a placeholder, and yeah, if there's not a heavy response to it, uh, yeah, you get what you get. So anyway, I don't know what their environmental process includes from Watts Township and so forth, and that's the other thing,
yeah, I mean, they had some noise provisions in there. They had some other things that I pointed out in our review that they could at least draw from. But for the most part, that it's lax. It doesn't have
Yeah,
the teeth that the model. You should take a look at the model and evaluate it. If you find shortcomings with it, bring it to Andrew's attention or else Jerry's or Karen's. They were the ones that basically kind of assembled it. I mean, they might have taken some stuff that I had thrown in for like Watts Township with dialogue with the township officials, but for the most part, it's been a collective work and process. So
right,
give it
right.
give it a give
Understand.
it a give it a fair shake first, and then take a look at it and evaluate it.
And what is it with McNeese Wallace? Are they conflicted on this? In other words, they're the I don't
They're the
understand the.
they're the applicant's a lawyer.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they don't have any relationship with the township then?
Just they were also the applicant's lawyer when the warehouses were submitted.
Oh, okay, okay, got it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
They've been by their side the whole process. Yep.
all right. Okie dokie.
All right, any other questions? Now, I guess we need a motion to approve sending the letters of review and all that stuff.
Make a motion.
I'll give you a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Yeah.
Opposed? All right, we'll move